Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Charlie and the Boys. Hopefully, we got audio on this one. We do. It's green
Yeah.
over here. Cool. And what we have for you tonight with both of my co-hosts, Will and Stash, we're going to do a little Cowboys coaching staff talk, question mark. I guess on
Okay.
coaches that have left, coaches that are potentially incoming or potentially still to leave, so on and so forth. I'm not really sure where it's going to go. It's probably going to get weird. So let's just get started. Do you want to start with assistants, or are we getting who's right for the top?
Alphabetical order,
I don't have an alphabetical order, so
right?
okay, all right.
Good boss, Steve. Tell us where to go.
Yeah, so we'll just start with the assistants. I guess you guys tell me when to stop and if it's something you want to talk about. So George Edwards and Skip Pete not returning.
Stop there.
Oh Jesus, Mary and Joseph. All right.
Good man.
I well, I'm just saying, I think both of them are fairly significant in different ways. In that George Edwards, I mean, had a lot to do with Micah Parsons becoming the player who he is now. So he had a nice little post on the social medias about George Edwards leaving.
Yep.
So that could be significant in that sense. And Skip Pete, good riddance. See you later. Get the fuck out. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out.
Whoa,
So,
whoa, why?
He was a Pollard hater, man.
yeah.
He was a Pollard doubter.
Okay.
Pollard hater, doubters, sucked on Zeke's nuts too long.
Yeah, Zeke truther, if you will.
Yeah, however you want to say
Okay.
it. It
Yes.
is Skip Pete, Kellen Moore, whoever had a hand in the offense, coaching malpractice that Zeke Elliott had more carries and touches than Tony Pollard this year.
Yeah, losing Skip Pete doesn't do anything for me. Uh, I see what you're saying with George Edwards. The loss of him also doesn't necessarily do anything for me. I did hear, however, I forget where, maybe it was a broadish show, that they actually think George Edwards wanted to leave Dallas because he's interested in trying to go for a DC job somewhere else. So I don't
That could
know that it's entirely he wasn't brought back, and potentially more that he actually wanted out. I'm sure we'll never have the answer to that, but
well at the time it was kind of significant that George Edwards was leaving because it was announced before the Dan Quinn news.
yeah,
So it
true.
was like if DQ left, George Edwards was probably on the list
Hmm.
to be defensive coordinator. And if
Could
he
have
was
been.
out too, that would have been significant. And
Right, but they would have known. I think that Dan Quinn was never going anywhere. So I think that 99% of teams in the football aren't going to hire defensive coaches anymore. I just think that's like not going. It's just not a thing anymore. You know what I mean? It's less and less. These teams get their quarterbacks and they got to do whatever they can to make the quarterback the best they can, right? I mean, like who is the openings? Carolina, they don't even have a quarterback, but they hired an offensive coach who's, I guess, oh, he had a winning record in Indy, right? But what was the problem there? They just didn't have enough,
they
whatever.
couldn't get a quarterback.
Well, I don't know. I wonder. And then my guess is my point about that is though is if what I just said is true, then they wouldn't. If they wanted Edwards, they wouldn't. They would have tried to resign him, right?
Yeah.
Meaning that they just didn't. They were just willing to move on from him. Like
Uh,
the same thing with Leon Lett, or because I know you're going to get to him, but
yep.
you know, he's a nice. I mean, he's been here a while. He's a former Cowboy, obviously, blah blah blah. But you know, it doesn't. One, I guess it doesn't mean he can't come back, right? But also, I mean, maybe like you said, we don't know. Maybe he had another job offering somewhere, or an upgrade in a position, or they just truly didn't like what he's doing. But like we saw, I mean, that basically the defensive line was one of their best positions on the team. So it obviously wasn't a production issue, right?
Right. Yeah, I agree. Um, Dan Quinn also is a pretty good, from what we're told, a pretty good defensive line coach. So for all we know, he did mask a lot of stuff
Right.
Leon Lett may have been poor at. I'm not saying he was or wasn't, but yeah, I mean, just more shit we'll never know, I guess, right? Um,
Well, we may know. I mean, they may not fill the position.
true.
Like you said, Quinn might just take over that role, but I mean, they. I guess that you're right. That is something we may know depending on if they hire anybody for the spot,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I guess so. We'll keep rolling here. So yeah, as we already said, Leon Lett has also not being brought back, as well as Joe Philbin. I think Joe Philbin. I don't know that it's significant. However, we did. I mean, there was so much movement on the offensive line this year. I mean, it really impressive what Dallas was able to do with what they had at the offensive line. It would be near impossible to not say or not give Philbin credit for that. So that was kind of surprising to me. But I think we all know, or at least could agree, that I don't think the front office and Philbin saw eye to eye. And the front office being, I guess, Will McClay, right? They disagreed on a lot of the or prospects coming in, like Tyler Smith, and the use of Terrence Steele. So, do you guys have anything else there?
I'm. I think you can do a lot better than Joe Philbin. I think a lot of
Yeah,
the, from what I was hearing, I mean, a lot of the guys that we praise for how good they are, like the Terrence Steeles and like how good Tyler Smith it was this year, they
yeah,
both go to the same coach in the off season, and it's
yeah.
not named Joe Philbin. So
Yeah, but
Duke.
what about the fact though is that okay at the end of last year there was this big talk that okay Philbin was gone because he
yeah,
did such a poor job with the team last year, but then Tyler Smith looks really good. Biotish plays better this year, right? Steele before his injury was playing really good. You know what I mean? So like I'm not. I mean, yeah, my guess is you could probably find somebody better than Philbin too. But I mean, he did. The players did improve. I mean, did he just not
Right.
have anything to do with it? Are you saying, or like they were just going to get better no matter what? You know what I mean? Or like what do you say to that though?
I mean I think, I mean, obviously he's common denominator there. He was their head coach. I just think while he did have something to do with it, I think it wasn't as significant as it should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
I
I
think
yeah.
it's
mean,
I think it's their offensive line coach, uh, Big Duke down in Texas. He like
yeah, but what
his
was
school's right across the street, basically from Dallas
that's
Complex.
all off-season development. I agree. But Duke wasn't the dude who put Tyler Smith at left tackle after he prepped at left guard all offseason. He wasn't the dude who put Tyron Smith at right tackle after playing left tackle for the last fucking decade or whatever it was. He
Well,
wasn't the
who was
dude.
that dude?
I mean, it had to have been Philbin, right? Like who else would it have
Think
been?
Philbin makes those decisions?
I think he has a very, very
Interesting.
large say. Who the fuck would it be?
I mean, I would assume Mike McCarthy or like Will McClay.
I mean, Philbin is McCarthy's boy, right? So I mean,
Yeah,
McCarthy
okay, yeah.
would assume is at least taking his input. I mean, do you really think the offensive line coach has zero say in the
Oh
offensive
no, I'm sure
line
he has some
lineup?
say, but well, okay. So here's my question: if we can all agree they definitely played better than last year, right? All the guys that were already there, plus Tyler Smith's playing better than the year, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, Stash same thing.
Yeah, everybody's
However you want to, okay. But my point is, okay, so they all improved, or at least didn't regress, right? And it's McCarthy's boy. Why is he not here anymore?
I'll
people
tell you,
got to
because
go.
Yeah, but
it's
I
they've.
mean, I tend to agree with you, but why though?
I'm telling you, it's probably because of him, just whatever disagreements between him and the front office, right? Like they have publicly I don't know if disagreed is the right word about the drafting of Tyler Smith. They've publicly disagreed about the use of Terrence Steele. They publicly disagreed on the let go of Lyle Collins. Uh,
So
I just, they're probably just ready to move on to have a new face-off offensive line coach. I don't think it's a performance thing. I think it's a
does
fucking,
does
it's a
does
pride thing.
McCarthy sign off on that, or he doesn't have a say? Because isn't that if McCarthy? I mean, okay, let's be honest. The Cowboys they haven't won 10 games in a row in like what, like 20 years or something or whatever.
I don't
It
think
is something,
I don't
right?
think McCarthy has any control. Let me correct that. I don't think McCarthy has much control over his staff at all.
I think he lost control of his staff after year one. when he had brought in all his dudes year one, and then they looked like shit. And then Jerry basically is like, "Get out of here! I'm bringing in Dan Quinn. I'm signing who I want to sign."
I don't know that McCarthy wants Kellen Moore here. I mean, they don't
Well,
even
why?
agree on
I,
the playbook.
Why do you think McCarthy's only here? I mean, why would he just want to stick around? He's a good enough coach where he'd get a job somewhere else or whatever, and he wouldn't have to deal with the hassle of dealing in Dallas with the Joneses and just being in Dallas in general, the scrutiny
where's
that
he going?
I mean, you don't think you think that Mike
Where's
McCarthy
he
couldn't
go?
get a job? I'm
Where's he
serious.
going?
Serious
No,
question.
no,
You don't think he's
I,
getting a job?
possibly. But where's he going where he can compete for the chance to be contending for a Super Bowl?
I mean, he's not doing that with
Yes,
Dallas,
he can
so
get another job as a head coach, but Houston's not going to do jack shit.
Okay, but that's like my point though. Is it count that they've gotten to the playoffs 2 years in a row, which they haven't done in
Yeah, that's what
forever.
I'm saying.
They won 12. Yeah, but I'm saying is that if he's done so good, and this is his boy, Philbin is McCarthy's boy, and the offensive line did get better. I mean, Biotish got better, right? You know what I mean? The new left tackle, rookie left tackle. That we didn't think they were going to bring back. I'm drawing a blank on a dude on the left guard. What the hell is his name?
McGovern,
McGovern. I mean, he played better, right? I mean, before this year, we were talking about that dude should be getting cut.
he should have been got cut.
I
Okay.
mean, he's probably
All right.
not, he might not be coming
his,
back.
his best position is
Oh yeah, I
fullback.
mean he's a free agent, yeah. But I mean, are you saying? Oh, okay. I mean, hey, I mean, I guess
I,
that's something else we disagree on, I guess.
I don't know why it seems like you're really just you wouldn't buy into the fact that there have like I pointed out there have been public disagreements between the offensive line coach and the majority of the front office, right? Like I
Yeah,
think
no,
this
I
is
mean,
more of a
I'm
pride than
okay
a
with that.
performance thing.
Okay.
I think, right? I don't know. You don't know. I don't fuck.
No, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I have
Philbin
no
probably
clue.
don't
Yeah.
even know. Maybe Philbin quit and they're doing him a favor and just saying we're not bringing him back so he doesn't look
Did
like he quit.
did did they actually fire him or they just didn't re-up him?
Didn't re-up.
Didn't re-up.
So okay, so I mean that is different.
They
I
haven't
mean, he
fired
might have said,
any
"Hey,
of
I
these
want." He might have
coaches.
said, "I want $5 million or something."
Yeah,
They're
none of the
gonna get
dudes have
850
gotten
maybe,
fired.
or whatever. So they were all expiring contracts. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Kellen Moore could be like the first, if he's not brought back, would be fired.
Do you want to? I mean, do you want to talk about that?
What?
Sure.
What was that?
Do you want to walk right into Kellen Moore or what?
No, hang on. Stop it.
Okay.
Let's finish
True.
this out. Slow down,
All right.
boys.
All right.
So neither of the offensive or defensive assistants are coming back. Rob Davis or Kyle Valero. I don't know that there's any news really more to that. That's kind of whatever.
Wait. Does it? Where's Valero at? What position was he?
Offensive assistant.
Oh,
Yeah, just like fucking, I don't know, water boy maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
I
I heard somebody. I didn't hear anybody talk about him, but I did hear somebody say something about. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
And the last one isn't really anything yet. It's just the tight ends coach Lunda Wells has indicated he will be back in Dallas. That's not really official. That's just something from his Instagram page, apparently.
Why?
For whatever.
Why
Yeah,
does he have
because
an,
people
yeah,
are
why does he
following
have
that
an
dude on
Instagram page?
Instagram, right? Like I don't know, but
Oh.
so those are the assistants. Anything else there before we talk about, I guess, Kellen Moore?
I do have a question before
Sure.
we get to Kellen Moore, just for an opinion, because it's. Would you have brought back any of the offensive coaches?
Who?
If you were on the team, would you have brought back any of the offensive coaches?
Or who are you asking?
Both of you.
And how high does this go? Are we including Kellen Moore here?
Yes.
He is. Okay.
All the
we
offensive
hadn't
coaches.
talked about it. Okay.
I would have had no problem bringing back Philbin. I think maybe that's clear. I think we all kind of agree we would have no issue with that. I also don't think any of us have an issue moving on from him. I don't know. I guess we'll see how that looks next year. I don't even know who the wide receivers coach is, but that dude needs to fucking go. Actually, you know what? I could be talked into
They've changed
keeping
him a few times over the years too.
I could be talked into keeping whoever that is, right? Like Noah Brown was a sixth receiver on everybody else's roster in the league, and I don't know, he had a couple drops this year, but he had some pretty nice catches. In short, no, I guess in short, no, I'd be okay with them all fucking going. I would not lose sleep over that.
So, okay, just so we're clear, okay? I'm okay with them moving on from everybody too, but I think we need to have an honest conversation if we're doing ourselves any if we're even attempting to talk about, like, why do we have a YouTube channel if we're not even going to willing to talk about this, okay? There's got to be a way where we can find out, okay, I mean, you said it 50 times over the years, Dash. Okay. They still had it, and you were saying this in defense of Dak, right? But if it's in defense of Dak, then it's got to be Kellen Moore has to have some, in this too. If they have a top, 3 scoring offense or 5 offense scoring offense the last 2 years, it can't all be Dak's fault, and it can't all be not Kellen Moore's like good job, right?
Agreed.
So
I agree.
my point is, and this is my only point, I don't say we need to have Kellen Moore back. I don't say we need to not keep him. All I'm saying is that do we, because he tried to do too much that Dak couldn't handle, right? Or because, but then that also ties in. Okay, we bumped him up to, like, he started getting paid, so now we got to warrant paying him. So then that's not on Kellen Moore. That's on the Jones for paying Dak, and he's limiting Kellen Moore. Is what did he limit Kellen Moore, or did Kellen Moore not calm himself down enough to make him more like Cooper Rush? The more conservative. But then that's also not on Kellen Moore, right? Because he didn't pay, the Joneses did. You know what I mean? So
I think it's a combination of two things. I think paying Dak is fine. He can succeed. He's proven that outside of 2 San Francisco playoff games, he's been really good in the playoffs, even in losses. But the issue was Cowboy. When we talked about it the whole season, before the season, roster management, and going into that, like, mismanagement of the roster by the offensive coordinator, putting the people they had and asking them to do too much or things that they can't do. Like,
but they had a top 5 scoring offense though.
They have a top 5 scoring offense that shits to bed in the playoffs.
Right. Well, is that because then they go against better defenses and they're like, listen, you can't scheme Noah Brown open against us?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I was listening to a podcast today, and it was like, it reminded me of The Water Boy, where the guy's clicking up for the onside kick. He's like, "Who's my bitch?" It's like, you're looking at that San Francisco offense, or defense, that is, and like, who's going to be my bitch? Who's on it? And it's Lenore, one of the guys who got the picks.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, who are you scheming up to take advantage of that? Like, it's going to be tough to get CD on him. Who's the next guy you're going to take advantage of it? Noah Brown? Well, you're going to scheme Noah Brown one-on-one to go against somebody?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, but
that was the problem, and the other problem was, and this goes more to the on the offensive coordinator, was their whole offensive game plan in that San Francisco game revolved around, at least running the ball, was Tony Pollard. You saw that in the first half. The snap counts were highly favored Pollard over Zeke.
But that was a good plan, though, right? That was the best plan.
Good plan. But then Pollard got hurt.
Okay.
Zeke took every single snap after that, minus like 2 snaps. How is that your transition from one? Clearly, they're 2 different backs. What
other transition would you want?
I mean, Malik Davis had more yards per carry than Zeke did last year, or this year.
You have to put in Malik Davis, give him the ball, because he's at least closer to Tony Pollard than Zeke is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you at all.
But I'm just saying, that's coaching malpractice right there. Is your whole game plan was to use a quicker back against this defense, which is really fast and really good, and then all of a sudden, Pollard gets hurt, and you just throw out Zeke for the whole second half, and your offense can't do shit.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue that, but does that?
Yes, that in itself, I think, is a fireable offense.
Okay. Yeah.
Because that's 2 years in a row your offense has shit the bed against San Francisco.
Yeah, I mean, it's
They're
also
the best defense in the league. What if Philly scores 15 points this weekend? Do you feel any better about Kellen Moore because Philly's got a really good offense and they have a lot of ways to hurt you, right?
We'll see.
All
no.
right.
I mean, no. I'm not comparing Kellen Moore to what the fucking Eagles are doing. I mean, we have
That's
seen
right.
Kellen Moore for the last 4 years just not be consistent. Like he has that, top five scoring offense like year in and year out, but the dude struggles to put consistent drives together. Like I I don't know how many times I've said it, but Stash doesn't like to hear me say this, but it's like every time the dude's got to run a fucking wide receiver screen or a fucking homosexual reverse or something fucking dumb, and then Stash is like, well, you got to give the defense something to think about. Dude, we've been thinking about this shit for 4 years and it never works. And I'm not saying that
Well,
to
the
you,
script,
Stash. I'm just saying out
they,
loud, right? Like
no,
Kellen pulls this
every
shit out of his ass and can't get out of his
you're,
own way.
you are 100% right about the wide receiver screen, the running back screen, any screen in the world. Every other team in the fucking league can run a screen except for Dallas.
I mean, and that's an issue. I'm
That's
not saying it's
definitely
the
like
issue, but
the reverses and shit like that. Those are gonna work when they work, whatever. But yeah, the screens you have to find a way for them to work.
but I do also agree with Stash. Like I mean, this is just roster management, right? Like I hate to go back to it, but you have less of these offensive issues if you never move on from Amari Cooper. You have less of these offensive issues if Jalen Tolbert's not a bust. I understand he's a third round pick and he can recover from that, but as of now the dude's a bust. Like he was on the field once, and the only time everybody remembers him being on the field, he got called for a fucking offsides penalty or illegal shift
They
or
only
whatever the
scored
fuck it
7 points in 3 quarters against 49ers last year, though, with Amari Cooper and
That
CeeDee Lamb.
sounds yeah. I'm not saying Amari Cooper's the game saver, but like Dallas was the second to worst team out of all teams that were playing on in the divisional round in the playoffs. That they had the second worst skill players on offense. Only team they were better than were the
Giants.
Giants,
Yeah,
right?
okay, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
as much as like I think Dak played like shit against San Francisco, and he did play like shit against San Francisco, the dude like you got to give him help, right? Like in drafting Jalen Tolbert isn't going to do anything. Uh, when outside of CeeDee Lamb, when have they really provided any offensive draft capital to
Did you
Dak?
see the I don't know if you talked about it, the EPA stat for the wide receiver or for the pass catchers?
I saw it. Yeah, we haven't spoken about
Oh,
it.
that's just insane. Like Dak throwing the ball to all the pass catchers, the expected points, whatever, EPA, Dallas, CD Lamb's all the way to the right. So all the way to the positive, like 99 percentile. The next two best was T.Y. Hilton and Jake
Ferguson.
Ferguson.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Everybody else is in the negative. Dalton Schultz is all the way down at the bottom in the negative.
Will, question.
Yeah.
I guess maybe for you too, Stash, but Will. Do you know how many tackles CeeDee Lamb broke this year? Just take a wild guess. Unless you happen to know.
I don't know. How many tackles? I don't know. A decent amount. Yeah,
What
I don't
what
know. I
would you
can't put
think
a
is
number on
decent?
it. I don't know. A handful a game, maybe. I don't know. Man, I'm either gonna be way right on this or way wrong. I'm gonna say 45.
Go no. Yeah, it was like 16. And he
Okay, so
led
only one a
and
game.
he led the Cowboys. Guess how many Debo Samuels had in their playoff game against the Cowboys?
8.
A
It was
lot.
not. It was 9.
Okay.
So he would
Here,
have been second on the Dallas Cowboys for the
all
entire year in
year.
just
Yeah,
one
yeah.
game, right? Like, and I know Debo's a
So
freak, right? And I'm not
hold on a
saying.
second. Hold on.
Sure, go ahead.
That's not. I mean, yes, that's not. And also, yeah, I mean, here's the thing: is that I think that number. Debo Samuel's also right. He, like you said, he's a physical receiver
Yeah.
compared to CD. I mean, nobody would call CD Lamb a physical receiver.
No.
But the other problem with that is that it's really easy to make. I guess break tackles and misses are two different things. Whatever. I assume he would be up a little bit higher in that or whatever. But if you can't get thrown open the ball, you
True.
know,
Yeah, that's a part of it. But I think a statistic of broken tackles is a
yeah.
fair measurement of how good of a playmaker you are. CeeDee Lamb is the only one that had more than 10, and I don't even know where he ranks on the rest of the
Oh
league.
yeah,
Probably fairly low. But yeah, no other Cowboy. I think the next one was like Maybe it was Schultz at 9 or
Aren't you
Pollard at 9.
making you're making the reason why you bring Kellen Moore back is because the Cowboys don't have any playmakers and they're still able to put up all these points in the regular season. And
Yeah,
they thrashed Tampa Bay.
that's not a reason to bring Kellen Moore back. I mean, Kellen Moore put up 12 points in a playoff game. Like that's not no. I'm not defending Kellen Moore. I'm just
I mean,
that's
he
if
didn't
anything
throw
that's
2
defending
interceptions,
Dak.
did he?
Nope.
Okay.
Neither did Skip Pete, and he's not back. So
He didn't coach up Zeke enough, I guess, right?
I'm just saying. I
Didn't
mean,
teach him how to block apparently because he got roasted on that last play of the game.
Yeah, I mean, they put they put him in a real bad position there. To be fair, yeah.
Yeah, no, that was terrible.
I'd also be interested to see, and I think this is a relatively fair comparison, what other offensive coordinator and quarterback duo has been together this long and successful other than Pat Mahomes and Bieniemy.
The enemy doesn't even call the plays. Good point.
And yeah, I mean, you define that however you want, right? Like, I mean, and I'm not saying because everybody else is rotating out their offensive coordinator like a fucking turnstile, so the Dallas Cowboys have to do it, but I mean, history shows that your offensive coordinator either is extrememely successful or gets the boot after year 3.
Well, here's the thing. It's not been just one coordinator. I mean, it was Garrett Linehan, then Kellen Moore. So his whole career, he's had the same people.
Yep. So what?
I'm saying it's even worse.
Oh.
Like you were saying, it's even worse against. Well, that's what I'm saying too. Like if, you, I mean, that's what I was going to say is we have to, you move on from Kellen Moore because you think you can hire somebody else that's completely different than Kellen Moore and Jason Garrett and Linehan. You know what I'm saying? Because he obviously needs some kind of different, something whisper in his ear. Hey man, those throws you're making, dog shit. Don't do that again.
I think it's more he needs an offensive coordinator that'll help scheme open his wide receivers because currently right now his wide receivers can't get open by themselves.
I think Kellen Moore has proved he could do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, but that's what I'm saying. It comes to, I mean, the coaches only do so much. I mean, like everybody thinks Sean McVay is the man. I mean, he's scheming open Cooper Kupp, but he didn't scheme nobody else open. I mean, they had Robert Woods or whatever, you know what I mean? But they I guess had 2 receivers, but you know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, how it's okay if you want to dump on, Kellen Moore, we move on or whatever too, but like let's not get it twisted. Somebody else that comes in here is not going to make the players they have on their team probably any better. That'd be my guess.
That's why I was pretty much what I was trying to say before is they need more offensive weapons, and I think that's more of a Dak thing than a Kellen Moore thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Because in my opinion, the path forward, in a nutshell, is you move on from Kellen Moore. I don't know who you replace him with, but insert name there. And then that really gives you the answer to if you extend Dak next offseason or not, right?
That's
I think you need to see Dak in another system.
Right.
Whether it's successful or not is kind of, obviously we'd rather it be successful, but like you need to see Dak in another system to see if he can actually do anything more than win a wild card playoff round. And if he does, if he win, even if they go out like this next year under a different OC, you don't extend Dak. It's obviously
answers,
not
though.
a recipe to win. And then there was your answer to Kellen Moore, obviously not being a recipe to win. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
What we know right now is the combination of Dak and Kellen can only get you so far with what you have. And Dak's not going anywhere. So Kellen's, in order to possibly go further, the only person that can go is Kellen. Because Dak's not going anywhere right now. So you move on from Kellen, you bring somebody else new in to work with Dak, and you see if they can go further. And then if they can't, then possibly then you move on from Dak and whoever's there on that next cycle, which would be like 2 years down the road.
Yeah, I mean, I don't not like that.
Because, like we said, right now we know the combination of Dak and Kellen's not getting you what you want when it matters most.
We knew that shit last year. I just didn't want to admit it.
True.
What else?
And the combination of Kellen Moore and Skip Pete lost you out on him like 2-3 good years of Tony Pollard. Just saying.
Yep.
I mean, yeah. Do you think Tony Pollard's coming back?
All
Or is
depends
it
on
a
how
different
he
show.
all depends on how he heals with
Heals.
that
Yeah,
leg.
they say he's supposed to be ready like well before training camp. So
3 months, but we'll see.
yeah, that's April, homie. That's before training camp.
Yeah, I was just saying that there
Oh,
was 3 months.
thought you were trying to make me look like a damn fool. I mean, I think that goes to our free agent discussion. I don't know if we want to leave that there. There's nothing more on Kellen Moore. I really thought we would have some more juice to this. I'm kind of surprised actually.
You should go.
So everybody's in favor of moving on from Kellen Moore, or Will, you want Kellen Moore to come back? It sounds like actually.
So the only reason I say that Kellen Moore should come back is because I don't know. I'm more leaning that he's doing a lot with not much.
Yeah, I mean, I
You
think
know,
that's fair.
and it didn't that's the only reason why I know, listen, I know we're all Cowboy fans. I know we only care about what happens to the Cowboys in the playoffs, whatever. But all I'm saying is if 49ers go into Philly next week and they win this 21-14, 21-13 or whatever, doesn't that make you feel any better that Philly's supposedly, really good offense couldn't score against that defense either? Because then maybe it's not Kellen Moore's fault as much as everybody makes it sound out to be.
No,
If
I don't have. I think you're focusing too much, in my opinion, you're focusing too much on the San Francisco game, right? The San Francisco game, from what we could see, was Dak's fault, right? He threw two really bad interceptions. As much as Stash wants to be like, man, Gallup's really got to fight for that ball. Maybe he does, but it was still a poor throw. And then the second one was also a
Never,
dog shit throw.
no, I never
Like,
said it wasn't a poor throw on the first
okay,
one.
no,
but
but
okay,
you would
so
argue Gallup's got to fight for it, which
but
I
if
agree
you
with.
take out the 49er game though, then you're going off the body that worked the rest of the year, and they had a top 5 scoring offense.
Yeah, but so what? So
I'm
what?
not. I'm not saying no. I'm saying this has been that's Stash's thing all year protecting Dak is that they're still got top 5 scoring offense. Blah blah whatever. I'm just saying if you're not faulting Kellen Moore for the 49er game, right? Then what what is bad about Kellen Moore's resume that you want to move on from? That's all I'm asking.
I'm
His
faulting the
resume. What is his resume? His resume is
Top
literally
5
nothing,
scoring
right?
offense.
So what? That's gotten him
Okay,
nothing.
who are you gonna? Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't have the.
if that's what I'm saying, if you take out the 49er game, it does do something.
No, it doesn't. You've won 0 Super Bowls. You've won 0 NFC Championship games. You've
And
won
and
zero
that's on
divisional
that's on
playoffs.
Kellen Moore.
I mean,
So
why
he's
would
the
you
only person that's
rehire a
got to
dude
go.
who is not
He's the
taking
only
you to
person
the
that's got to
promised land?
go. I'm just
No,
asking.
I have already said I
Let's.
wouldn't extend Dak. I've already
Well, yeah,
said
I mean,
that.
I wouldn't have signed Dak, so either. But I mean, let alone
Yeah, so
extend him.
you're
But yeah,
coming you're coming
yeah.
at me for
Okay,
nothing.
but I'm just saying, if Kellen Moore, I mean, the last 2 years, the only problem, like, let's make more changes then. Then let's get McCarthy out of here. That's all I'm saying is like what are we? Why is Kellen Moore the one falling on the sword for? The Joneses making mistakes. With Zeke and Jalen Smith, and most recently, I mean,
because they're
clearly
not
Dak.
firing
Nope,
themselves.
No, I know, but
I mean, nobody's saying they're
I'm just
not at
saying.
fault though. Both of those things can be true.
Yeah, that's fair.
And you think, wait.
It is.
I heard, I saw what you did there, and I'm not gonna go for that shit.
Okay.
You cannot go Zeke contract, Jalen contract, and then throw Dak in there. That shit's not gonna fly.
Why that contract was awful too. The Michael Gallup contract. Michael Gallup contract. Sorry, Jesus Christ, that was difficult to say. That was an awful contract too. How come nobody's talking about that?
That is an awful contract, but 3 of those are not like the other.
I disagree.
I'm listening.
We were all saying that was a perfectly fine contract until we saw his play this year.
Wrong.
Nobody had a problem with what's wrong with Michael Gallup's before this
Oh,
season.
the Gallup. I mean,
Before the
easily.
season, what was wrong with Gallup's
right.
contract?
No, nobody talked about the money or whatever, but it was kind of weird that they did pay him.
You cut Cooper to pay Gallup. That
Yeah,
was
right. Yes, I mean that's kind of where I'm going with
Okay.
or whatever. But I'm talking. Yeah. Okay. I mean, hopefully he plays more like himself this upcoming year. He's a year away from a year off the injury or whatever, and hopefully things get better. But certainly not a good contract.
I mean, I don't. How? I don't. What's
You can get out of it next year, after next year, right? I think it was basically like a 2-year contract.
Yeah, maybe all the guaranteed's done by then. Yeah, it's very
I think
possible. Yeah.
2024 is when it's all the guaranteed is done.
Yeah, so you're out of it by after next year. So
I mean, his cap number is never more than 14 million, right? And we're I know he's not a number one, right? Like he's a fringe number two,
Yeah.
trending maybe towards a three. Um, that's a good number.
I mean, he should have
Assuming
given
he
that 14
can,
million to Noah Brown. Just saying.
no way.
Was he I mean, who was the number 2 this year?
I mean, Noah Brown played the whole season.
No, because he's a real man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. It's interesting that I think we all agree that shit needs to be way better, but stuff's not going to get better if we're just moving on from just Kellen Moore.
well, you're moving on from all the offensive coaches. Get them all out of here. They're all gone.
That's fine too. McCarthy's got to go too then.
That was Stash's original question. I have no problem moving on from McCarthy.
Was it?
I said
I feel like that was a long time ago, so I can't remember.
Well, yeah, that's what got us to this point, kind of.
My bad.
I mean, I think McCarthy has 2 double-digit winning seasons back to back, whatever, you know what I mean.
So does Kellen Moore.
So I'm okay with him coming back. Yeah, but I don't know that Kellen Moore has anything to do. Kellen Moore has nothing to do with the roster management. Like from anything.
Exactly. That's my point. Is that he's putting up these big points.
No, that's
right?
no,
With
no.
You're talent. Right?
Against who? He hasn't.
Everybody
but they
other
haven't
than San
won
Francisco.
anything.
I mean, who else has?
Who else has a number one offense and hasn't been to the fucking NFC Championship game?
Well, I will have to do research on that. I will have to do research.
Right, like I mean, like you saying that they have this fucking hotshot offense has done nothing for anyone that's been a Dallas Cowboys fan for the last fucking 30 years.
I 100% agree.
So why do you want Kellen Moore back? What has he done for you? Is he paying your bills?
I mean, he sends me a couple bucks. Yeah,
Interesting.
He's a nice guy. He's nice like that. He's a good team player. I'm not saying I want him back. I just I'm just saying he can't be the only person that gets fired, right? They're gonna let go of the guys they let go because they didn't have contracts, or whatever, right? I get that, but other people need to go, or just bring them back and run it back one more time. I just don't I don't get how the thing is gonna get any better.
We did the same shit with Garrett, dude. We ran it back with Garrett for a fucking decade. Like I'm not trying to be in that cycle again.
He's the last one remaining from the Garrett cycle. Gotta go.
And he's a fucking bum.
Who are we bringing in?
I don't have the answer to that, but that's not an argument to make. So are you trying to tell me you want to keep Kellen Moore because you don't know who to bring in?
Oh, I mean it's.
No, you're not.
I'm not
right,
the one.
So...
I'm not the. I don't think he's coming back. I mean, I think he might be coming back. Either way, I don't think it depends.
But you
on
also
what we
want him to come back.
No. I think that if they're gonna move on from him, they need to other things need. He can't. I'm just saying, the bare bones minimum. He can't be the only one that goes. If they want to see changes.
I have no problem with that.
Okay.
I said before the season, if they do not win a Super Bowl, I don't care if McCarthy doesn't come back. Okay. All I'm saying is that I can understand or resonate or see how the front office is like, well, we at least are getting, we punched our ticket to the dance consecutive years now for the first time in
a long time, 20 years or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I can buy into that. I can accept that. But what I can't accept is that Kellen Moore has had this top 5 offense for the last fucking 5 years and like has nothing to show for it. Like who cares? Right? Like somebody else could probably come in here and provide another top 5 offense and lose in the divisional round. Like at least
you just want to see something different.
I'd rather lose in a different manner. I don't want to do the fucking Jason Garrett shit again.
No, yeah, I mean I'm not disagreeing with you. I just want to, like I said, I mean I don't care if he comes back or not either. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
Sounds like
my only point is that something else needs to happen other than him. That's all. If we expect to see something different.
So who do you want instead of McCarthy?
Well, I mean, I mean,
You said you want change.
if they were going to move on from McCarthy, I think the option you have is you just make Dan Quinn the head coach. I know I said earlier that it needs to be an offensive guy, but here's my thing, and this is kind of what I was getting at earlier, and I think we all kind of would agree on this, is that maybe a defensive coach is not the worst thing in the world for Dak. Because now we're playing a little bit more, I mean, it's not the best for the cap, and it's not the best for the team, right this second or whatever, but if we're playing a little bit more, I'm not asking them to do nothing. I'm just saying just don't try to do everything, right? But if there's a defensive head coach, maybe they can calm his ass down a little bit, and maybe we don't have as many turnovers.
You act like turnovers have been a problem outside
Yeah,
of
I
this
think
year.
that was an outlier. Hopefully it's an outlier.
We're talking about this year though, right? Because that was my whole point about, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's important. That's the reason why we lost the playoff game.
I don't.
Kind of important.
Yeah.
So what? Nobody's disagreeing with you.
Well, I'm just saying. Well, no, Stash literally just said they act like
Well, I just said it was a problem this year. I mean,
this is the year that that matters currently. You know what I'm saying? We don't have.
But one, you can't move on from Dak this year reasonably, right? Like I'm sure there's ways around
100% agree.
that.
100% agree.
And then two, like historically, Dak has not thrown interceptions at this rate, so it would be safe to assume
it's the first time they ever he started getting money. I mean, I know his contract's still not big yet, but it's gonna be big these next 2 years, whatever. They asked him to start doing shit, and then he started getting wild with the ball.
Well, you asked him to start doing shit. You took away weapons, and you gave him people that can't get open. So he's making more contested throws.
Why are we making excuses for Dak? Why are we making excuses for Dak, but we want to get rid of Kellen Moore? That's all I'm asking. Why can we do one with one and not one with the other?
I'm not making excuse. I'm just saying you're asking him. You're saying he turned the ball over. He's literally throwing the balls to scrub wide receivers who can't get separation because either one, they're not good enough, or two, the coach didn't scheme them open, so they're thrown into tight windows, and balls get tipped, or balls get just thrown into tight windows, and guess what? They get picked off.
I don't know, man.
That's the truth of the matter. Look at all the interceptions. They're either bad throws, throws in tight windows,
bad throws, right? Yeah.
Or balls that were catchable with the wide receivers just freaking have stone hands and they just go bobble them and get run back. That's the truth.
Okay, here's the truth about that. If that's the truth, then why did we pay a quarterback $40 million that needs more talent around him in order to be successful?
I think this is a weak argument. I don't know. I mean, he's a starting caliber quarterback, right? We all agree he's at least top 12. You pay your starting caliber quarterback. He's a franchise dude. You pay him market value at the time.
It's already a reasonable contract.
Wasn't it like $8 million more than they needed to like the year before because
that's the front office. I mean, yeah, that's a failure of the front office.
That's part. Well, they're part of it. We're talking about an organization here, aren't we?
Yep. But I mean, just because the front office failed to sign him when they probably should have and could have, like that doesn't change the outcome of this year for like and how he played.
I also am not sure if it's a weak. I mean, just because that's the going rate on a quarterback doesn't mean. I mean, who was going to give him the $40 million?
If Dak could walk into free agency,
we're never going to know.
Somebody would pay him top dollar. Maybe not. Yeah. I mean, he wouldn't get fully guaranteed like Deshaun Watson because that was just crazy. But he would get whatever the market dictated this year.
And those guys would all be stuck in the same position we are, going home and maxed out, can't get to the NFC Championship game.
But he would get paid, right? I mean, Kirk Cousins got paid.
Yeah, but I'm not. It's like you said before. My Philly argument, against San Francisco, it didn't make you feel any better because it did happen against Dallas. So I don't care what other dumb teams do dumb decisions. I think it was a bad idea that our team did what they're doing. Or what they did with paying Dak.
But every team does that. That's just how the quarterback position works. Like Kyler Murray got paid. That was a mistake. Jalen Hurts is probably going to get paid. I don't think that's going to be a mistake. Daniel Jones is going to get paid. Right? Like all of these dudes are going to get market value. They might not set the market,
I want the Giants to pay Daniel Jones.
Get market value. That's just how that works.
I've got a question for you, Will. Outside of Mahomes, Burrow, maybe Herbert or I don't know, 3-4 quarterbacks. Are you saying you should not pay a quarterback at all?
Here's my exact take on the situation. And if we can't understand this, then we probably should just move on. If you don't have the guys you named and your quarterback's not on a rookie deal, you don't pay them.
That's what I'm saying. Like, outside of the rookie deal, if
Right.
your quarterback
go.
needs to get signed outside of those guys, you're not paying anybody.
Let him go.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to.
Yeah, but
Because
your chances.
unless the scenario is perfect, we can't go to the NFC Championship game with Dak. The scenario has to be perfect.
You could
And
say that about 30 of the other quarterbacks, though.
that's fine. I don't or no. Well, what did we just say? Like
Okay, 29,
like 20 or something, whatever. You know what I mean?
Whatever.
But yeah, that's. I mean, you asked me a question, I answered it.
But
I've
that's not
you know,
reality,
we're
though.
getting way off of the coaches talk or whatever in here. Reality. I mean, that is reality. It's just if Jerry and Steven can't get fired because they're not worried about losing their job, then they're okay with always being just good enough to get to the playoffs. That might be okay for them. That's not good enough for me. That shouldn't be good enough for any of the fans.
So it's interesting you say that because we had this discussion in the offseason, like
Yep.
obviously last year, of how the Dallas Cowboys, and I don't know if who said who or who said what, but the
Okay.
Dallas Cowboys would rather be relevant than win championships because they
Yes.
care about being fucking relevant.
Yes.
That's
Right.
true. It's
That's
been
why
true. It's going to never change until
that's
Jerry
what I'm
Jones
saying.
dies.
I said is that I would rather the Cowboys tank for a couple of years, or this is okay. Full disclosure is I would rather be relevant every year and have a chance or whatever if it's done right though.
Yeah, I understand
Or
what you're saying.
in my
I
opinion,
disagree,
what I think
but
is right. Or I know I'm not the owner. I know I'm not the GM. I know I'm not in charge. You know what I'm saying? But I still would like to have things go. Because otherwise, I mean, it's nice to have a chance to dance every year. That's really really awesome. You know what I mean? We've basically been relevant for a long time, but relevant to our relevancy is capped.
Been capped for probably 10 years now.
Right. That's what I'm. Yes. Yes. And now I've had enough of it.
And
I'm willing.
before that, they were dog shit.
Well, no. I mean, I think my guess is if we had to talk, be 100 with it. If the Cowboys, the front office managed their cap and roster the way they do now with Tony Romo, I think things would be different. That's my opinion.
what?
Like, because Stash was saying before Dak, they were dog shit.
No, I'm saying before Romo, they were dog shit.
Yes,
Quincy
they
Carter,
were.
dude.
No, that's what I
Yes.
was saying. 10
Okay,
years, I
okay.
meant like Romo to Dak, they've been
Oh, okay,
relevant.
okay.
Pre-Romo,
Yeah,
they
I
were
mean,
relevant.
and that's what I'm saying. It is nice to be relevant and have a chance every year, but I would have rather, and I mean, it's easy to say this now because it's like hindsight, like you say whatever. But now looking back at it, now I mean, I want to see it's not going to get any easier than the last 2 years we had either because we went against a team that supposedly Dak is a better quarterback than. Right, Garoppolo and then Brock Purdy. We couldn't beat either one of those guys. Like this was the year Brady. We beat Brady in the playoffs, but then Tampa Bay was gone. Rodgers didn't make the playoffs. So I mean, Dak in theory was 1 or number 2 in being the best quarterbacks on the NFC. Now we go against the AFC, and he's probably number 5 or 6. Like let's just be real against everybody that made the playoffs or whatever, right? But are you telling me next year if we bring it back and we go 12-4 or 12-5, whatever the hell it is, and you think things will be different just because we changed the offensive coordinator?
I think
No,
you got a shot.
I mean, yeah,
Yes, we have a
maybe
shot.
you have
Yes,
a
I
shot,
would assume
right? As
so.
long as
Yeah.
you have your ticket to the dance. That's my play at that is more long term, right? Like you get a new offensive coordinator so you can get a different look at Dak because then that saves you or proves to you you can resign him or it saves you from extending him, whatever, right? Like I don't think you can properly assess Dak Prescott without getting another offensive coordinator that's not named Kellen Moore there. And that has to be done this year, right? Like you're
Oh,
going to get another year worth of Kellen and Dak Prescott together. They're going to put together another top 5 offense. They're probably going to lose in a divisional round again, and then they're going to be like, man, well, we got this top 5 offense. Might as well just fucking run it back. Like,
yeah.
because
If you're
why
talking
not?
about purely evaluating Dak, I 100% agree with you.
That's
Okay.
I feel like
Well, here's the thing too and this just came to me
you're
is
going to say something crazy.
like you need to get somebody in here that can like develop your wide receivers quicker. Like CeeDee Lamb coming in from college to the
Okay.
pros was legit, everybody was saying number one receiver, and it's taken him 3 years to get there. Jalen Tolbert was a really good receiver who, year one,
Did nothing.
did nothing.
That's true.
What the fuck's going on? Kellen, wide receiver coach, I don't know who, but what the fuck's going on there? And Noah Brown, whatever, I mean, whoever else we got, nobody's really developing. CD, I can argue CD's just gotten better because he's CD Lamb. He's a freak.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess I can't argue with any of that stuff.
And here's another thing. I saw this today. How many, like, a good comparison for Tony Pollard for a running back would be Austin Eckler. Would you not say kind of shifty?
Sure. Yeah. Lots of catches out of the backfield. Yeah. Sure.
How many catches do you think Austin Eckler had this year?
Like double or triple of what Pollard had.
He had 100 catches this year.
Yeah. How many
Pollard probably had like 40 catches.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he is their entire offense though too.
Yeah, but I'm saying you're trying to, like, you think there's too much on Dak's shoulders. An easy way to help relieve that pressure would be to give more touches to your running back using easier throws and things like that. That's something that Dallas clearly hasn't done. Like screens, wide receiver,
Kellen
running
back.
back.
Screen game is trash, dude. You can't do it.
Yeah, but that's something right there. That's another reason why he's got to go.
Why is it his fault that the screen game is no good?
I don't know. Why can't he figure it out?
I mean, we're gonna keep running into these same things. Over my guess is, or I mean, Dak doesn't have the touch for it.
But it's not even like he doesn't have the touch. Is like you go to throw the screen and there's nobody. Like the defense already knows it's coming or whatnot. Like
maybe, yeah.
Like it's not even like it has a chance.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I see now. That's a different argument. Sure. I mean, I could believe that being a thing. I mean, maybe they do it in particular situations all the time, and they don't change that up. That would definitely be on Kellen. I could give you that.
I definitely think from your standpoint about not having the touch, I don't think Dak has the touch for the wide receiver screen. I think that's been proven over the past couple of years. But like the running back screen, that should be a staple in any offense. And Dallas, one, doesn't run it, and two, when they do run it, it's garbage. The only screen that they try to run that they can actually do somewhat successfully is the tight end screen.
Which is not your most
that's not going to help.
Optimal thing. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, boys. I don't know.
What you don't know?
Or we're gonna start. I mean, they either got to like they're gonna fire Kellen Moore soon or what? I mean, what are we waiting on too? Because I mean, McCarthy basically didn't give him any.
If he's coming back, he's on a short leash. That's for damn sure. Because he did not say many nice things about him.
Nope.
Yeah, but then why are we doing something? What if we do something in the middle of the season? Was McCarthy gonna start calling in plays? Because why if he's coaching for his job and if he's their Tom Landry, if that's Jerry Jones's Tom Landry, then shouldn't he be just controlling everything and saying this is what's going to be going down because I'm in charge?
One would think.
I mean, you act like there has not historically been issues with the coaching staff getting their way in what Jerry Jones dictates, right? Like, I mean, I would bet a decent amount of money that Jerry Jones is just not let Mike McCarthy do that if he has proposed that. Mike McCarthy.
Why would Jerry Jones not want McCarthy to call the plays?
Because Kellen Moore is boy wonder.
Or they just don't tell anybody about it.
I mean, I'm sure they find that out one way or the other. I don't know.
That would fly.
I don't know how you keep that a secret.
I don't know. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not saying that. Yeah, I just. Interesting. It's very, 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 very interesting.
Yeah, I guess so. I propose we wrap it up there for now.
All right, let's do it.
And then, I'm sure we'll get back to this another day. Sash, closing thoughts? Any?
Peace out, offensive coaches.